desert sun. Every step that you take could be the final one. In the burning heat, hanging on the edge of destruction.
It's pretty rare for me to resolve to buy a particular Transformer when it's still in the conceptual phase, like when early pictures haven't even been released yet. A good example would be back when they announced Reveal the Shield Wheeljack. I didn't care how horribly they reimagined him, I was going to get one. Similar reaction when they announced that they were making a new Autobot with a P-38 Lightning as its vehicle form. It will be mine. Oh yes, it will be mine. Which brings us to Hunt for the Decepticons Voyager Class Highbrow, or as I like to call him, figure that Thu beat me to reviewing number 852. Speaking of Thu's review, Thu view? Yeah, I'm no good at that. I rather like Highbrow on the whole, so when Thu started giving the robot form a bit of a dressing down, my knee-jerk reaction was, "How dare you, sir? We shall settle this matter on the field of honor. I trust you also own a pistol that's woefully inaccurate on the rare occasions that it even fires. Don't make the obvious joke." But then, just as I was about to put quill to parchment and compose a strongly worded letter, I remembered that I wasn't terribly impressed with the robot mode either. I mean, it's okay, but if I were to summarize my opinion of it, said summary would be, it could be worse. Hardly a glowing recommendation. If I were to not summarize, I'd mention that he's an awfully leggy dame, although in that respect a big step up from the chimps they usually give us. Oh, I said it was a big step up. I did a pun, 'cause stepping's what you do with your legs. For the sake of this review, I can't admit that I actually really like Hailstorm.
Secret lovers, that's what we are.
His face is just a bit too Kilroy. And what's with the clear light piping? I mean, I don't necessarily dislike it, it's just kind of unusual. In general, Autobots have blue light piping, Decepticons have red, and then you get the odd yellow popping up every now and again. But clear? Apparently Highbrow has achieved perfect robot tranquility. My other minor gripe is that I'm not sure that it's actually possible for his arms to ever be right. They're great at making it hard for Mega Man to run, though. I'm also not really keen on his doofy flight cap gimmick. For those that don't already know from watching one of the bajillion other Highbrow reviews that were posted back when such a review might have actually been relevant, you can take his little flight cap and push it down like so. Better yet, you can not do that. Let's do a quick recap of what I know about the original Highbrow. He was blue. This Highbrow is also blue, somewhat. Unfortunately, it's baby blue. Baby blue only looks good on one thing. You know what that is? A baby! It's right there in the name. Rounding out the lack of any real damning complaint, there is a bit of kibble on his back here, but in my opinion, particularly good-looking kibble. He also has this hilarious tiny rocket thruster that I don't think would do him any good. He could maybe get some Armored Core style grinding out of it, but in terms of actual flight, away! Drat, if only I could transform into an entire aeroplane. Speaking of which... Could it be that the reason I don't always do speed transformations is that I suck at them? That bears looking into, I think. Anyway, I'm really having to ride the brakes right now, because I'm afraid if I don't, I'll say something like, "Oh my gosh, this is like the greatest vehicle mode ever!" Because here's the thing, it kind of is. Now, to be fair, it isn't exactly a P-38. It actually looks sort of like an odd merging of a P-38 and an FW-190. Evoking some sort of star-crossed airplane romance. But you know what? That's okay. I actually like it like this. It has kind of an alternate universe, Crimson Skies-y feel to it. Gorgeous green, yucky blue all nicely hidden underneath. Even more impressive is the total lack of pronounced robot parts. All is not well, unfortunately. Get ready for some worst gimmick ever action. Now, it's not that propeller spinning gimmicks are inherently bad. We've certainly seen enough of them on every copterbot in existence. It's just that the general idea is that once the propeller starts spinning, it's supposed to continue spinning on its own, just at least for a little bit.
Ooh, hours of fun!
That's alright, though. Failing a gimmick is like neglecting to take extra credit. It's not a big deal. Not when you're scoring as high as this fella. Sorry. Now, normally I display figures in robot mode, because they almost invariably take up less shelf space that way. I don't know, though. I think I may have to leave Highbrow like this. He is so pretty. In fact, if it weren't for the threat of exposing the blue belly, I might hang him from the ceiling in some sort of jaunty action pose. The end. Except actually it isn't. I'd like to talk for a moment about something that I don't usually bring up. It's established in Highbrow's bio that he's the standard issue war-begruzzled old fogey, a character type which is in no way new or different. However, keeping that in mind and taking a look at his stats, Transformers apparently accumulate experience points, because he has some colossal beef going on. Think of it this way. Transformers have 8 different stats, each with a possible high score of 10, for a highest possible composite of 80. But the only characters who ever even get close to a full max out are leaders like Optimus and Megatron. For a more reasonable benchmark, common Transformers rarely break the middle 50s. Highbrow, on the other hand, tips the scales at an astonishing 65. That's just 2 less than Starscream. Bugatti, Enzo, in the world.